Hello, welcome to the City Futures Lab. I'm Elmer Soriano and we're joined by Jules Alejandre. Thanks for joining us,
You're welcome,
Jules.
Doc. Thank you po.
Jules just got back from studies abroad, we're interviewing Jules to find out about his research and what students can pursue to advance the theory and practice of city development and planning in the Philippines. So, Jules, can you tell us about your course and the research that you did?
Okay, so I took a Master of Science in Public Health and Health Promotion. So basically, here in the Philippines, I am a public health nutritionist, but I wanted to focus more on the health promotion and the health policy side of public health. That's why I took my MSc in that field. I took it at Bangor University, which is formerly known as University of Wales. It's in the northern part of Wales, which is a part of United Kingdom. So my thesis is about green and blue spaces. So
Green
yes.
and blue spaces.
Yes.
Parang coloring book.
Yes.
What do you mean by green and blue spaces?
Yeah, so whenever I tell my friends about this topic, they ask me, what are green and blue spaces? So that's the usual question that my friends ask. So basically, in a very simple terms, green and blue spaces are the nature. Green being the trees, the grass, the parks, and the blue spaces being the water sources, the river, the sea, the ocean. So green and blue spaces siya in a way na the color of it that's represent this bodies of nature. And in my research, I investigated on the influence of these spaces to population health, especially on the health of children, more specifically on childhood obesity. So my research is the impact of green and blue spaces on childhood obesity. So ano ba yung naitutulong ng spaces na ito para ma-prevent yung childhood obesity? So in a very simple way to explain it, ano ba yung environmental parts ng cities natin which has a very great impact to population health in terms of obesity prevention or prevention of non-communicable diseases. Yes.
So, ano yung findings mo? Ano yung insights mo from your research?
Yeah, I build up this research in an evidence that these green and blue spaces has a very huge impact to population health in general. But I wanted it to be more specific on childhood obesity because the studies in this kind or in this field is very limited. So in my investigation, so I did systematic review, and this method also is very how should I say it? Very new in terms in the Philippines because not all are trained on how to do systematic reviews in the Philippines. Researchers here are doing empirical reviews, qualitative, quantitative. So this is a new method of doing research then. So I did systematic review, and my investigation, the results of my investigation, I found out that these green and blue spaces are sources or are venues or spaces for child mobility and could change a child's eating behavior. Because these green spaces, for example, in a community, this green space could be a vegetable garden, a vegetable garden in a school. And one study that I found, it was in Netherlands where children in a child center or in a daycare center, they were taught how to plant, on how to make these green spaces. And it was seen, or it was the result of that study, a specific study showed na these children, after doing all these activities, their behavior on eating vegetables have become more favorable. So they are more on eating vegetables now because they see the importance of this. And these vegetables, they are the ones who planted it. So in their school, they harvest these vegetables, they give it to their family, and they eat it.
Alam mo, ginawa namin yan nung
Yes.
elementary ako. I was
Yeah.
like a flat, maghukay kami,
Yeah.
magpapawis.
Yeah. So in a way, it changed their behavior then. Because yung planting nila, so medyo mahaba siya. Then when they see it, when they see their product, they go to their mom, say, "Hey mom, this is my vegetable. I planted it," and then they eat it, and they found, oh yeah, it's very delicious, and then they starting to eat vegetables. So it's a way of behavior change and how to change the behavior of children to promote vegetable eating or healthy eating. Physical activity then, which is very important. In another study in a study in the United States, I found out that yung theme parks, which is yung facilities niya is could promote physical activity to children, but then these green and blue spaces, particularly green spaces, it should be proximal or very close to the house of these children, like 5 to 10 minutes. The house should have an access to a green space para magpunta doon yung bata at doon siya maglaro. Yes, so yun yung in simple ways, yun yung investigations na na-found out sa studies ko. But if I may add, these green spaces, yung merong considerations on the type, the facility na binibigay ng space na yon, yung proximity niya, and merong malaking contribution yung parent-child relationship para yung bata ay ma-access niya yung green space na to. Like in the Philippines.
Kung may park pero hindi ka naman pinapalaro.
Yes. It's very common here in the Philippines because why? Mothers or parents or guardians, they think or they perceive na pag pinalabas nila yung anak nila, it's not safe. Which is true. People or children do not walk to school. Which is in other countries, children walk to school because they have public spaces, they have pedestrians, very nice sidewalks, pathways, na their parents feel that it's safe for their children. Here in the Philippines, it's not that way. Yes. That's why sobrang important ng parent-child relationship talaga. And also the environment. The environment where the children is living, the cities. It should be sustainable, it should be livable. Yes.
So, we have City Futures Labs. We've set up City Futures Labs with university partners. So right now, among our university partners, there could be up to 10,000 college juniors just about to enter their senior year, and they're looking for an interesting thesis topic or thesis title to work on. I mean, they can get any convenient topic to work on, but for those who are looking for something relevant and challenging that will help nudge their own city in a direction that they want. So based on your research, how can other researchers build up that body of knowledge so that we can move the conversation forward, no? So that our cities, whether it's Baguio, Tarlac, Zamboanga, Manila, our cities will evolve in a direction that make them more livable, more desirable.
Yes. Since my study is a thematic review, so it's a collection of studies from different countries. Most of these studies I found out were conducted in Western countries. I haven't found studies about green and blue spaces and its impact on population health in an Asian perspective. That's why part of my study is our policy recommendations on how we can improve the green space here in the Philippines. But before we go to that, before we move forward to policy recommendation, I know some policymakers here in the Philippines, they will want to have local studies. That's why part of my research, I branched it out to for more research questions, which is in the Philippine context.
So tell us about those 4 research questions or tracks.
So this is in the Philippine context. The first is on the proximity and accessibility of green and blue spaces to household who has an obese child. So for example, I'm living in a household and my brother or my sister is overweight or obese. So, gaano ba kami kalayo sa isang park, for example? So, I want to find out, ano ba yung average distance ng mga household na to sa green spaces? And yun yung proximity part niya. And on the accessibility part, accessible ba to sa kanila? Is it accessible for free? Do they need to pay for it? Or may certain time lang ba kung na na pwede nilang ma-access yung green space na yun. So that's the first research question. The second research question is on the spatial distribution of green spaces in urban and rural communities. Basically, it talks about the inventory of green spaces in an urban and rural setting. Inventory, saan ba siya nakalagay? Where are these green spaces located? And also, what are the facilities dun sa green space na
Ano
yun?
yun? Kailangan Google Maps or drone, photography?
Yes. It could be a map. Like, I know there was previously merong map na ginawa on the green space in National Capital Region. But I want it to be more micro level, like a certain community and the difference between the urban and the rural, like in terms of facilities ng green spaces na ito. So
When you say facilities ng green spaces, kung siso o swing ba yan?
yes,
or football
like
field?
yes, football field, playing facilities, like seesaw or yung wheels. Also the activities that some social organization are giving in these green spaces. Because in other countries, when you have a park, there are activities for children. Like there are picnics, there are clubs. So meron bang ganito sa Philippines? I want to know if there's an existing
Organized activities.
Yes,
Usually,
organized.
kanya-kanya. Picnic kayo,
Yes.
bahala kayo.
Yeah,
Pero
yeah.
don't expect na may madadatnan kang
Yes,
organize something in the park. No?
Yes, so that's what I'm looking for then. If there are organized activities in the park or like children's play club sa park or and a children's eating club.
Ang meron pala Zumba, at least
Yeah,
in Baguio.
yeah, at least, yeah.
In the public spaces, but they're for adults.
Yes, that's for adults. So yun yung second question. The third question is on the gaps of management in the management part of these parks.
Park management.
Yes, park management, because we like some parks are managed by the LGUs, some parks are managed by the national government, I think Rizal Park, but I think there's a gap in the management of these parks since it's devolved and we don't know ano ba yung binibigay nilang budget sa pag-develop ng parks na to.
Gardening budget
Yes,
siguro
oo.
yan.
So, hindi natin alam paano ba ito ginagawa on an LGU level or a national government level. So, the gaps in management ng parks.
Question. So yung plaza ba, is that a green space?
Yeah,
It's a public
yeah.
space, but it often sementado na may konting grass sa paligid.
Yeah. Well, basically, plazas or parks are green spaces. Pero dito sa Philippines, since we're moving to development, and we think that development is more on infrastructure development.
Cementing.
Yeah, there are cementing parks, which is, I think, hindi siya sustainable because we're converting green spaces to gray spaces, like parks and buildings and villages, which is, I think, hindi siya magandang way on how to plan an urban setting or an urban place.
Dapat may natitirang green spaces.
Yes, because it's really important, not just for population health, but also for environment, like climate change mitigation. We need trees, a source of oxygen and a source of clean air then to filter the air.
So that was the third.
The third question,
And then the fourth one.
The fourth one is on, sorry, I have to check it in my laptop.
Sige,
Can
sure.
I? Sorry, I usually forget this. So the third one is on the use of the children of these green spaces.
How do the children
use it? Like the frequency, gaano, so like for a week,
Gaano
ilang
kadalas,
beses sila bumibisita sa green space, and the frequency, the duration, gaano sila katagal naglalaro or nagsistay sa green space, and also the activity that they do in that green space, because they might be visiting, they might be staying, but they're not doing physical activity. So I want to know like the frequency, the duration, and the kind of activity that they do. So that's the fourth question. Yeah. So I hope there will be students who will be picking up these questions, because this is very relevant and timely, especially this time that we know that the Philippines is a country experiencing double burden of malnutrition. Basically, we're experiencing undernutrition and overnutrition, which are the obese and overweight children. and the obesity rates or the prevalence of obesity in the Philippines is increasing. Single digit siya, but it's increasing. So it could be a way to prevent, because some of the policies in the Philippines, personally, I feel that obesity prevention strategies in the Philippines are more on food-based and physical activity. We forget the environmental or the macro part of intervention. We tell children, or we tell people, eat healthy, eat moderately, do exercise 30 minutes a day. But do we think of, naisip ba natin, why are people not doing exercise? Even if they know that, we all know that we need to do exercise 30 minutes a day, but we're not doing it. Why? Because maybe they don't have space for it. So the green space is a solution to that problem, I would say. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. So we're
Yes.
calling out to you students out there, kung naghahanap kayo ng thesis, then consider the 4 tracks that,
Yes. Yeah.
were mentioned, and then we will make ourselves accessible so that if you are actually interested, that you will be able to reach out to us through Facebook
Yes.
or email.
Yeah. Thank
Okay.
you, sir.
Thank
Thank you, Doc.
you.
Thank you so
I
much.
hope we
It's
get
very
some,
interesting discussion.
sige.
Yeah. Thank you.